The UN, I mean, as you know, like it's a big system, as you mentioned, and almost all UN agencies, they have youth programs. Almost 40 of them, agencies, funds, programs, and they focus on youth and their capacities and based on their unique mandates. But it was time also for the UN to have a kind of office where could bring a kind of a clear address for youth issues at the UN and could also help in harmonizing and coordinating our efforts to support young people and to work with young people around the world. When I started 2 years ago, I think also the appointment of a young person to this office is not something common here at the UN, to have a young person in senior position. But I think the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon wanted to send a very strong message that nothing for youth without youth. At the ECOSOC Youth Forum, for example, you know, it's the first time in the history of the United Nations where member states and young people, representative of youth organizations, are seated next to each other. Not in a balcony, young people were not in the balcony, but they were seated next to member states and taking the floor in the same order with member states and debating different issues and sharing their ideas. I think this is a huge step forward, but of course we can do more.
We've heard a lot about youth's role in the SDG process and some of the work that the envoy is doing. Within the goals, do you feel youth is well enough represented? And how do you think that in the implementation process, as we start to look ahead to that, youth can be really incorporated in that?
Well, first I think we've got an ambitious and a responsive and reflective framework of goals, the 17 that we have, because we have the special envoy there really moving to engage, civil society engaged, and a lot of what you see there for the ambition for youth is because we've had that informed process. If we're going to speak to how do we hold to account delivering on this agenda, because I do think the agenda is representative of what we want to happen in the life of youth, it is then about how we craft the indicators that will measure whether or not we are delivering on this agenda or not. And I think those indicators are going to be important in terms of, you know, does the Minister of Finance investing in an economy take consideration of how much each investment produces in terms of jobs? Do they look at the skill sets that engage with the economy and not just skill sets for skill set's sake? How are we going to look at the retooling? Because in education, the one thing that we do know now is that many, many youth at the age of 18 to 25 are coming out of institutions without the necessary skill sets to join the economy that we want to have, that will give us transformations. So for me, I think it's a lot about how we're going to measure this and hold people accountable. And then it's about you really thinking through what you're going to do in terms of lending your voice to make sure that this agenda is actually implemented.
Well, yes, the UN system has made some progress. I think the envoy in his capacity has taken some very important key measures to take this forward. But I think we in the UN system have to do much more. I think especially at the local level, at the subnational level, national level, regional level and global level, youth participation must be institutionalized. And within that, I think we need to ensure that youth participation is of the most marginalized and discriminated group of young people, which often don't have access to a New York youth assembly. They may not even have a cellular phone so they can participate through online. So how do we really promote those governance and decentralized models so that a young woman can participate in a local village development committee, or a youth belonging to an indigenous background who's been displaced can participate in a municipal development committee in a slum? So I think we are a long way from really creating more accountable structures. I think the evidence which we've generated from the My World survey, which I've been leading for some time with so many young organizations, that creates a very clear place, because a lot of time I was asked that we don't know who these young people are. We don't know what they're thinking. We don't know what their priorities are. But now we do. The question is, are we responding?